TGIF, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. It is Ernie Zuniga once again with another edition of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm and Integrity Roofing and Siding. This is Danielle Campbell Steans, and she is ready to go. We'll get to her in just a minute, but here we are once again. Oh goodness, I'm getting choked up. I was just showing Danielle the dynamic sky in the car here, and you liked it. I should have recorded your face when you saw it the first time.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
So this is the Lexus RZ 450E, courtesy of North Park Lexus of San Antonio and North Park Lexus of Dominion. So certainly beats what I used to be driving when I did this show. But nonetheless, it's great to be here. And it's great to be with Danielle today to talk about, we are parked just a few feet away from the San Antonio Ballet School, which quite literally bears your name on the front of the building.
Yes, it does.
That's kind of cool when you drive up and you see your own name on there.
I like it.
Yeah. You've been the director for a few years, and I understand when you came here once upon a time, I mean, you didn't come here as the director.
No, I came to San Antonio as a ballet dancer.
Right.
And that was a long time ago now, it feels. 2007, and I danced for Ballet San Antonio.
Right.
And towards the end of my professional ballet career, I started to get into teaching, and I managed the ballet company, and then I was just blessed with an opportunity to open up my school here in Castle Hills. So,
and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So you, from what I understand, you started dancing not too long after you started walking, I think.
I was 4 years old.
What do you remember about 4-year-old Danielle, and when ballet came into your life?
I began dancing in Kansas City, small town, Wyandotte County, and I remember going into my studio, June Nail Dance Studio,
right.
And I was with my sister, who also danced, and I remember hardwood floors, and I remember my teachers, and learning some of the first exercises, pliés and tendus,
right.
And stretching a lot.
A lot of stretching.
Lots of stretching.
Did you like it, or were you like I don't know if this was a case where your parents put you in ballet, or it came into your life and you're like love at first sight kind of thing?
So I started actually doing ballet, tap, jazz,
yes.
acrobatics, and baton. And let me tell you a little secret. We were getting ready for our jazz routine. It was late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. And in the routine was the Roger Rabbit.
What?
And for some reason, I just could not really get that step down. And so my teacher, and good on her, suggested to my parents that Danielle might be better suited for ballet. And from there, they took me to a professional ballet school, Kansas City Ballet, and that's how I started my professional ballet training.
I'm just trying to have visuals of you doing the Roger Rabbit and everything. A younger Danielle.
It's pretty laughable. I think every time we get together as a family, we like to roast each other. There's 6 of us kids, and that's one of the things that comes up is like, Danielle was a beautiful ballet dancer, but why can't she dance?
You can dance now, though.
I can.
Okay, now you're an amazing dancer. So you were talking like 90s or
90s.
Okay, so I have a younger sister, and I have memories of her when she was doing ballet. This is probably more mid to late 80s, but the ballet, I grew up in Victoria, small town, but the ballet schools and the sounds of the taps and everything. I have vivid memories of all those kinds of things. She did the Nutcracker a few times and different things like that. But
yes, I mean, the ballet studio for me growing up was also a safe place. My best friends are still friends that I danced with
right.
as a young child. But to answer your question, it was absolutely love at first sight. When I walked into Kansas City Ballet, I remember being greeted by my teacher,
right.
And looking at all of these girls who stood so tall in their buns, looking so neat and tidy, and as intimidating as it was also fascinating.
Yes.
And so I knew I wanted to be a part of that and learn more about it.
And your ballet career has quite literally taken you all over the country, right?
It has. It's taken me some very nice, neat places. After high school, I danced a little bit in Atlanta and Nashville. And then I've also trained in Seattle and Philadelphia, New York. So
you literally crisscrossed the country.
I love that. And I love to travel. So
yeah.
It's a win-win for me.
So you went to high school where?
I went to high school outside of Boston, Massachusetts for 2 years at a school, Walnut Hill.
Wow.
And there I was able to board and train in ballet. They have a partnership with Boston Ballet, so I had access to incredible teachers, world-class performing artists and directors.
So the arts or the ballet in like the New England or northeast part of the country compared to what we have here in South Texas, I mean, is it comparable, or how would you describe the difference between the two?
I think now it is definitely, there are so many talented directors and artists that are coming. Of course, back in the 90s, you had Ben Stevenson, the great, who really put Houston Ballet on the world stage. But, back at that time, I mean, the Northeast was definitely, where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
You wanted to train in New York. Everybody wants to go there. And Boston Ballet is a fabulous company, even still today.
Yeah.
And so, it was quite an experience being there. And not only for ballet, but it was a performing arts high school. So my roommate was a violinist. My, one of my dorm mates was, their major was creative writing. And so I felt like at home I was with all these other creatives at a very young, early age. We all knew that we had a talent and a skill, and it was a safe place.
And that's like pre-iPhone and pre-social media too. So just imagine, if you will, like all this creativity happening with pen and paper or dancing in your case.
Yes.
Musical instruments, not digital stuff.
No.
Man.
No, I remember being at Walnut Hill and creating my first email address, which I still use. And that was a big deal to go to the computer lab.
At AOL.com.
Yes.
You've got mail. I love it. I still have a Hotmail account, and people give me a hard time sometimes. And I'm like, I'm not getting rid of it anytime soon. So I love that. That is great. So this is Danielle Campbell Steans again. She's the director of the San Antonio Ballet School. We were talking about how you grew up as a young girl starting ballet when you were 4 in the Missouri or Kansas City, Kansas, not Missouri. I get Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri mixed up all the time.
And there are two. I think
there are two.
There are two. They're divided by a river. I grew up in the Kansas side,
okay,
and I started dancing on the Kansas side, but Kansas City Ballet is technically in Missouri.
There you have it. There you have it. Okay, so Brian says hello, Danielle Campbell Steans and Ernie Zuniga. So Brian can hear us. That's a good sign. So we were talking about, so you went to high school, I guess in the Boston area, and I was asking you about, at the time, did you think that you were going to make a career like out of doing ballet, or did you ever want to be something else, like a teacher, an astronaut, a lawyer, anything like that?
I remember being a young child and knowing that I wanted to be a mom. And also at one point a teacher, but always a ballet dancer. Once I found dance and saw the Sugar Plum Fairy at Kansas City Ballet, I knew that I wanted to dance. So, and lucky for me, I've been able to do all three. So
dancing. Bernard Cruz, before we went off a little while ago, had asked who were who were the people that influenced you growing up in terms of dancers or people in pop culture that we might all know and recognize.
Okay, so I am like what you call a traditional bunhead.
Right.
So I don't know if you'll know some of these names, but I'm going to throw them out
for
the ballet lovers out there. I really, of course, loved learning about Baryshnikov.
Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Yes,
of course.
There we go. Okay.
I've heard of that name.
Yay.
Okay.
I was a huge ballet fan, so I loved looking up all of the New York City ballet dancers, and I'm talking like Allegra Kent and Gloria Govrin, like going back, Suzanne Farrell, and Gelsey Kirkland. And then I think the dancers who inspired me were the company members at Kansas City Ballet. So Alicia Good, Lauren Wright, Susan Lewis, Sean Deuce. I'm sure my teachers, Lisa Stickelman, was really so influential because I'm sure she could have judged me walking in with my electric blue leotard with hot pink check marks when everyone was so perfect in their neat, muted leotard colors, but she didn't, and she taught me everything that she knew, and it really established that foundation for me to take my training on to the next level.
And I bet you pulled it off. Like, I bet you wore it well.
I tried. Yeah.
Yeah. The ballerinas that I've known over the years, just kind of friends or children of friends of mine, that do it and go all in. I mean, from what I understand, I mean, it is quite the commitment. You live it, you eat it, you breathe it.
It is. Not only for the dancer, but also for your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not enough credit goes to the family members who support the ballet dancers.
Right,
You know, my brothers and sisters who sometimes had to sacrifice their own hobbies and activities for dance class. And then, you know, good on my mom for making them all join in on ballet. Even my brothers were doing ballet.
Okay.
My shout out to my little brother Reed, who was the Nutcracker Prince in Kansas City Ballet's Nutcracker. He didn't have a choice; he had to be there, and
he was voluntold.
He did it well.
Yes. Oh, they almost tried. They got my little brother in. My parents got my little brother into a Nutcracker performance one time, and they tried to get me, but I couldn't. I mean, you think you can't dance, or you couldn't dance when you were little, younger? I still can't dance.
It was awful.
And so, anyway, yes, Bernard Cruz, we're back. And I know Bernard was asking earlier about some of your influences and everything. So, you get to San Antonio, is it 2007?
2007.
So, what brought you here?
Ballet San Antonio. I signed a contract. Myra Worthen was the artistic director, who is also the founder of Ballet San Antonio.
I know that name, yeah.
Yeah, she hired me and other dancers to come be a part of this company. And I initially thought, well, San Antonio, like, I don't know much about the city. Maybe I'll try it and we'll see. And I fell in love.
Yeah.
Fell in love with San Antonio, and it's a great place to be from. And
I agree.
I started teaching and directing the youth ballet company, and the rest is sort of history.
So when you got here in 2007, so now we're talking like 17 years ago, whatever.
Was it 17? Don't say
okay,
that.
ish. I'm rounding up. What do you remember about the ballet scene in San Antonio? Because there's so much about culture and like folklorico dancing, and there's all kinds of other dancing and the arts here in San Antonio. But the ballet scene in San Antonio back then.
The ballet scene, we were a very close, tight-knit group of dancers, and all very talented, coming from major ballet companies. Some of my friends who were in the company had danced with Houston Ballet. They're the fourth largest ballet company in the nation. And I think that, what was different was just the exposure and people knowing about ballet and sort of what we were talking about before, knowing that it could be a career. I felt it was odd when I came here that oftentimes I would be asked, so you're a ballet dancer, well, where did you go to college?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I didn't, because I danced and trained my whole life through high school, and when I graduated, I started dancing professionally with different ballet companies.
Right.
But that concept was just so foreign to many people.
Yeah.
And so I hope that that's changing. I think we still have a little ways to go in San Antonio, but I think that the community was very receptive to us coming and being here, being a part of the company, and really growing the ballet.
Do you in any way miss, like, not having had that college experience? Do you think about that or wonder what that might have been like?
Sometimes I think about it more for my children, but I feel like it may have been very similar to boarding school.
Yeah.
And so living on campus, going to my academics, then going to ballet after, I feel like I got that experience. And also sometimes I feel like maybe I was a little bit lucky because I don't really like big crowds. So I don't
Well, there you go. Well, it worked out for you. I mean, one way or the other. We were talking earlier about the fact that quite literally right now on the facade of the San Antonio Ballet School, it bears your name, which I think is pretty cool. But when you came to San Antonio, did you have any plans or inkling that you would ever direct the whole thing?
No. To be honest, no. I feel like I came just with an open mind and open heart, like what I do with many things, and opportunities just came my way. So, once I got into teaching, I really loved teaching. I was passionate about it. My students were doing well. They were being accepted into many different summer intensives across the nation and even the world. Like I said, I just, it felt natural, like the natural thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. And I know outreach, I mean, has been a big part of your work here, just reaching out to families. And I was reading about the impact arts, whether it's ballet or otherwise, the impact it can have on a children's development and education. And maybe grades are a little bit better if you consider arts or ballet.
Yes, I think that it helps keep children engaged. And I know a lot of my friends who I went to school with, if we had activities together after school, you would want to be with that friend all the time. So you're going to want to see them at school, you're going to want to see them at dance. And so it really instills sort of that sense of community and also responsibility. Yeah.
And I know inclusivity is something that is very big for you. In other words, and I was earlier, I was going to ask you, is there such a thing as an ideal candidate to be a good ballet dancer? But I suppose your answer would be any kid. Any kid.
I think that there is this perception that you have to be, one way or one type of person to dance, and that is certainly not the case. Look at me. I was able to do it. If you have the right teacher or the right team behind you that can encourage you, you can go very far.
Yeah. What about confidence too? I mean, I would think, I've read that it can help develop. I talk about public speaking a lot and how much of an advocate I am for that, but how ballet can help with a young boy or girl's confidence.
Absolutely. Well, take it from the kid who struggled with the Roger Rabbit. I think it helped tremendously. I was a very shy kid. I was teeny tiny, really scrawny, and very insecure. But one of the first lessons in ballet is how you stand, sit,
your posture,
and your posture.
I need to. My posture's terrible, by the way. Now that you're sitting here, I need to be a little.
Body alignment is a part of that, and so how you present yourself is very important.
Okay,
and people respond to that.
Okay, now I'm thinking about it more, self-conscious about it now, but I do need to work on that. So your part of your work is obviously running the ballet school, but you teach, and then there are productions that you have throughout the different times of the year, and I guess you have one coming up this summer.
We do. We are going to present Don Quixote. It is my favorite. It's a world premiere for the San Antonio Youth Ballet, and we will, I think it shows June 7th through the 9th at the Scottish Rite Auditorium downtown. And so I try to give as many opportunities to my students as possible, whether it be in classes, competition. We have a very robust outreach program where we go into the community and perform for different events and for different organizations.
You've worked with school districts too, haven't you, in recent years?
And we still do. We have campuses in SAISD. We work with Essence Prep, my Tigers, and a couple of other private schools where we offer ballet classes on site.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And we should mention it in case you're not familiar with the ballet school and everything. It is a nonprofit. And so part of, putting on these productions, I mean, obviously they cost money. And I know you guys have a campaign right now. You're just asking people for support in whatever way they can to help with the Don Quixote production coming up in June.
Yes, whether it's $10 or $10,000 or $10 million.
That would be great. If somebody would like to do that right now, just let us know.
We're free. We would love that. But yes, if there's anything that you can do to help support our productions, our performances, our dancers, to help with costuming or those elements like lighting and sets and flooring. There's the list goes on, and we can send you a detailed list. But we would love to have our it's the support of our community for our dancers.
So are you part seamstress and set designer and...
I wish I could sew, but that is not one of my strengths, and I say that proudly and with confidence. And a lot of my parents know that. They're like, if there's many things that I can do, sewing is not one of them.
Well, listen, that's fine, but find you a good seamstress or a tailor, and they're worth every penny or whatever they are. Super cool. So today, just typical Friday. You said, I know you were telling me earlier, it's kind of like an admin day for you, but you'll do some teaching, or and you have openings right now. Like, what if somebody's watching this, a parent's watching this, and maybe they want to give it a try?
We do. We have open enrollment right now. Today is Fun Friday, and so we have, in addition to ballet classes, we offer tap, jazz, hip hop, contemporary, and so on Fridays we open up the studio and the dancers take these classes. It's one of my favorite days because I get to walk around and really engage with the parents and the students and have a little fun. And then at the end of the night, we have a little rehearsal. Sometimes there's even pizza. It's very relaxed. We are here, we're open, but we are accepting students as young as age 3. Well, actually 18 months. We have a parent and me class, or caregiver and me class.
Oh, wow.
On Saturday mornings, and you can bring your little one, 18 months, dance with them, but age 3 and up for dancers who are taking the class by themselves.
So let me ask you this. What is the, you don't have to give names or anything, but what's the oldest person that's ever come in and wanted to enroll?
Okay, I think even currently we have dancers who are taking adult ballet lessons who are definitely in their 70s.
What? Okay.
And they take regularly.
I was going to say, and I'm mildly embarrassed, but on my little bucket list, one of these days I would like to learn to dance decently.
Yes.
And I'm not saying I need to be like a hip hop, dancer or anything crazy, but I was just, wondering if a 40-something like me could just waltz in, pardon the pun, waltz in and just, start.
Just give me your shoe size.
Oh boy. Let me ask you this, whatever kind of dance it is, what is the first thing that you're trying to teach somebody who literally has 2 left feet or just doesn't have a lot of coordination? How can you take that person and turn them into a dancer?
Well, after we talk about, standing and posture and body alignment, then we go into weight distribution. Where we carry our weight. Is it in the balls of our feet? Is it in our heels? And holding yourself, like how you hold yourself, helps with that. And then from there, you begin to move your feet. First, you have to understand your body.
Well, that's a whole other discussion. But I'm guessing it's a heck of a workout.
It is. A full body, intense workout. There's nothing like it.
You never see an out-of-shape ballerina or ballet dancer.
No.
Ever.
No. Not one who's actively taking.
Exactly. Super cool. I love that. And so you have classes, is it every day of the week? Or?
We have classes Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
And for all ages. So again, if you're an adult, come see us. If you're 3, come see us. And if you're, a boy, girl, there really is a place for everyone. Yeah. A
couple more minutes here with Danielle Campbell Steans with San Antonio Ballet School. I should mention the website, too, is sanantonioballet.school.com. If people want to find out, I was on there earlier. You can read all about her amazing story, kind of outline some of the things that we've discussed already here. What about challenges you've experienced over the years? Or we talked about when something goes wrong on stage or in a production, but were you ever maybe pulled in another direction where you thought maybe ballet is not going to be it for me and I'm going to try something else?
Yeah, I think that every dancer maybe questions at one time if they're doing the right thing, because there's so much work that goes into it, and not just for you, but the people who are around you. And so there have been, points where I definitely thought, especially when I was still performing, like, am I doing, the right thing? But my love for dance always overpowered those thoughts in the back of my mind. And a lot of my friends who I danced with who maybe had similar thoughts and maybe stopped dancing and went on to do other types of activities, they always said they regretted it in some kind of way. They wish that they had kept with it. And just hearing those stories was enough for me to think, let me continue with this. Let me
Yes.
see how far I can go.
Yeah.
And that's also something I really love about ballet, is that the class is repetitive, and you learn from the repetition of the steps, the discipline of the art form, and through that, I think, is a very strong life lesson, right? Is that through the art of practice and repetition, you become stronger, and so.
But you learn things that whatever line of work or career path you go into, you learn things that you can carry with you for the rest of your life.
That's right. That's right. I've learned how to manage, my time. I've learned how to work through challenges, just by being introduced to a step or a variation that, may have seemed like a very big push in the beginning, but through the rehearsal process, I've learned how to attack the steps that were more of a challenge, and how to work through that, and then seeing yourself on the other side is like the biggest sense of feeling of accomplishment.
I love it. And you get the rousing applause at the very end.
That's the best part.
Isn't that great? I can only imagine what it must be like when you're seeing these productions, or you're in there running a class and you see them doing doing their thing. The kind of pride you have.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty cool.
My students, that's where I tear up every time. Because they're just so young, and then looking at them and thinking like, oh my goodness, I taught them that,
Yeah.
And look at them like excelling, succeeding. It's amazing.
Well, you've been great. You've been very patient with some minor technical gremlins that we had earlier, so I'm really grateful for that. Danielle Campbell Steans, the San Antonio Ballet School. She's the director, and obviously just a wealth of knowledge and talent and experience. If you're a parent out there watching and thinking, you know what, this might be something for me or for my child, she's right here ready to talk to you. SanAntonioBalletSchool.com. Don't forget the Don Quixote production in June. If you or your business or someone you know might be willing to help in a small or a gigantic way, I know Danielle would love that. So great to finally visit with you and learn more about just what you do and your amazing story.
Yes, thank you so much for
Congratulations,
having me,
and here's to many more years of continued success in dancing.
Thank you.
All right, Danielle Campbell Steans. This has been another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm and Integrity Roofing and Siding. We'll be back very soon with another one of these right here inside this beautiful car. Until then, have a great weekend. All right, bye for now.